Alrighty folks, want to welcome you to another video from Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. Well, this year I've been going down the rabbit hole subjects, a lot of deep subjects. Wanted to cover some subjects that have kind of come back up to light again with Windows. Windows 11. Windows 10 support was going to stop and is going to stop October of 2024. Well, it looks like they've been working on a new version of Windows already. There's been a lot of buzz and a lot of hype, a lot of conspiracies, a lot of things that have been out there for the last few weeks. Well, I guess other YouTubers and other people out there that have pointed out all these little things that have been going on have kind of forced the issue, it looks like. And there seems to be an official announcement of Windows 12. There were a few little leaks, a few little errors in a few little presentations and seminars and trainings that people have pointed out to come to this point where they already have a developed version of Windows out there. Scary part is it's supposed to include virtual intelligent AI, some kind of technology that really has not been promoted or pressed out there yet. A lot of people are freaking out already, knowing that they plan on doing this. Haven't they learned from all the movies and history and all this stuff that they've already learned from this not to do that? Well, my main thing that a lot of, if you watch videos, they talk about the good versions of Office, the good versions of, this, or good versions of that, and bad versions of this. Office usually is a good product but they move things around. Windows is known to have bad versions that are just garbage. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know of some of them. Windows 8 was a big flop. But I've mentioned in other videos, and they've mentioned in some of these other things, it's not always every other version. A lot of people like to throw that out there. That's not the true facts. There's been lots of versions of Windows. I mentioned Windows 8, but a lot of people probably don't realize that there was actually two versions of Windows 8. There's Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. They are completely kind of different. The lookout, how they look, the layouts, everything were different. Those versions was because Windows 8 was so bad, they went in to try to revise Windows 8 and came out with 8.1 to try to make it better. So it cannot possibly be every other version of Windows is bad. You get into things like Vista had, and you get into ME, and there's some issues with always something that they've done. Now I think they've pushed the envelope again, like they did back in the old days, where they put their little back door for support, and then all of a sudden, you couldn't use those versions in certain office buildings or government buildings or other things like that because they put in things they shouldn't have. This is what I think is going to happen with Windows 12. So this is kind of an announcement to let people know this is coming out. Not to mention, it's kind of a buyer beware. Because if you buy a product here in the next year or two that comes with Windows 12 instead of Windows 11, you might end up with some problems because of this new technology that they're integrating in the OS. So I'm not imagining this is going to stick around and be around very long. I think there's going to be a lot of friction. There's going to be a lot of questions about security, number one. If anybody is a true security person, they talk about the security of Windows and holes and patching and all of this kind of stuff, now you're adding a whole new environment on top of this. That how is this communicating? Where is it communicating to? Is there a central server that your computer is talking to get information and get updates? And so it's communicating out. It has a private channel that really, who has access to that channel? You have a lot of security concerns that'll come up with this. So I'm sure here in the next year or so, there's going to be a lot of stories, a lot of information out on this. And this is where I felt it felt good to do the rabbit hole part of it. Because this is not only a Windows 12 issue. They've had these issues in other versions. They've had other issues. Windows 8, where they wouldn't let you run old software and they wouldn't let you run certain things. So this is why I wanted to go into this, because this is really a touchy subject. This is a hard subject. Because now, when you go out and buy a piece of hardware, computer, laptop, you want to be aware of this. What are you getting on that computer now? Because if you get Windows 12 and you can't use it, you're going to have to downgrade. I don't know if they'll give you the option like with Windows 11 now, where you can choose Windows 10 or Windows 11. So these are all the variables that are out there. Microsoft is really going to have to think hard on this and figure out how they're going to release this. Not to mention all businesses, home users, corporate, government, all are going to have to figure this out. You know, simple little things, regulations and rules and all these type of things are going to have to be changed if this is approved. There's a lot of things in the background that get affected by changes like this. So I wanted to sum this up and put that out there because a lot of people don't really talk about what is the true consequence to something new in there. Like internet. Used to be no problem in the old days when you worked in a business. You didn't have everybody on the internet. Then you had modems to connect you to the internet, and you had certain computers that had the modems that connected you to the internet. You still had servers and other things you could do that ran through network cards that ran off of fiber, not fiber, it was T1 and other kind of connections, DSL, those type of things in the back. But the individual computers did not necessarily have internet on them. Then you got internet on almost all your computers. Now you have cloud-based stuff where those servers are not even in the building. Might not even be in the town. Might not even be in the country you're in. So now you have this whole other development of what else is going on. So it's not only the OS that is here physically where you are. It's the OS you actually attach to also. So this is one of those things that need to be brought out. You may stick with Windows 11 because you don't like these new features that are coming out. But if Server 2024 has those features, and that's on that server that's running, that you're attaching to, and if you've watched these last videos I've done with all this VM stuff, how long is it going to take before that VM stuff gets adopted over? So, just because you're on a server does not mean it might not have this new technology that's coming in. artificial intelligence, the VM virtual stuff, whatever else they're bringing in. This is where the tech is leading to. This is the future of the technology. So this is why there's the new version coming out. It's not for Windows 11 due to hardware and security and boot up properties and all of that stuff that Windows 11 is for. Windows 12 is the next step. Gamers, how are you going to like this? Most of us that are in tech and into gaming and other things already hate the bloat that are in these operating systems. There's so much software and so much other stuff in there you don't need. You want to load in the operating system, you want to load in your game, you want it to perform fast, you want it to do all this stuff. Well, let's add more bloat to the OS. So these are some of those factors you're going to have to think about. Because you might buy a computer today with Windows 11, you might like these features. You might need to upgrade to get the better performance, to get the better features, get the better performance out of these new features. So, wanted to go through this and put that out there. If you're in a business and you're not going to need these new features, you're at home and you don't care about artificial intelligence in your computer, or you do and you don't want it, make sure you're ready. Make sure you're aware of what's going on. I can't imagine they're going to push it out on anything old on Windows 11, but it's sounding like this is what's coming in Windows 12. So I had to come in and do this video, go through and explain this stuff, because the last thing you want to do is end up ordering a bunch of computers for your business or school or whatever. Order 200 computers, and what happens if they come in with Windows 12 on it? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You can load Windows 11, but the work you're going to have to do that. So it's kind of an FYI, it's kind of a warning, it's kind of informational. It's to let everybody know, go do your research, go check this stuff out. Because it's out there. I'm not going to spend my time playing with Microsoft and trying to figure out their little hidden secrets and whatever little code words and all their whatever they want to call this new OS before they actually announce it for the real name. Because really, it doesn't matter to me what they're doing in beta or in testing. Because not till they actually release that product, even like with Windows 11, they put out the full beta version, they did all this stuff for Windows 11 for everybody to test. Oh yeah, test it, try it, do this, do that. And then when they released it, half the features weren't even in there that were in the beta. Everybody went crazy, screaming, yelling, wrote all these nasty reviews and all this stuff because they felt it was basically a bait and switch. And it was. They came out saying, hey, this is what we're going to give you. No, we're only going to give you this. So, until that official product comes out, I don't really look at any of this beta or any of this stuff. But as for planning and knowing what you're going to be doing in the future, because of Windows 10 or Windows 10 support stopping, you're going to have to plan for these things. Everybody's looking at Windows 11. Everybody started rolling over to Windows 11. This might be a catapult to get people to move a little quicker to 11 to avoid 12. 12 might not last. 12 might be an 8 or 8.16 situation again, where they're going to put all these computers out with all of this OS, and it's going to sit on the shelf and flop. So be aware, pay attention, don't expect Windows 11 to sit around for 12 years or whatever before you have to upgrade. Because guess what? Too late. They're already doing a Windows 12. So that's the point of this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the bell, forward the links, let people know this video's out there. And of course, do your own homework. Go do your research. Go look at everybody's information on their programs that are out there that have changed. Microsoft's developers programs, all these things where these things have been added to that kind of force the notification. People have videos out there talking about something's going on because they can see things. But it looks like there was an official release already of a letter stating this will be coming out in 2024. No date, no month, no nothing that I've seen, but that's their goal. It may not come out in 2024, may come out in 2025, but it looks like it's a good opportunity for it to come in when Windows 10 goes out to try to drive some sales. Now, again, with those features in it, it might get a lot of people to stop and really think, should I buy this? Do I need to hold off? This might be an OS that works out really, really well, might have no issues. You might have a lot of good advantages to using this, work out really well. But it could take 6 years, 7 years before it actually takes off because people want to sit and wait and see what happens. They don't want to be the one that loads it in and then chaos breaks loose and then you're the one dealing with it. Not to mention, it's going to need the support of the entire industry to do drivers, support, everything else for all the hardware to run on that OS. So depending on how certain things fall out, we'll have to see how that OS falls in. It might be a really slow adoption time. So you might end up going with Windows 11, staying with the Windows 11 until 14 or 15, whatever Windows versions come out, where you know this is good, it'll be supported, it'll be in a good place for you to bring into your business or in your home. So, wanted to go through that. I don't want to do the scare you videos. Everybody, I know for years I've watched a couple people that talk about how all everybody's worried about is trying to scare everybody, give you the fear that will drive your ratings up, that the news does it, everybody does it to try to, ooh. They don't give you the facts, they don't give you the stories, they don't give you the true information. Again, this is why I do this channel, is to give you the true information for you to go out and do your research, do your homework, and understand what's going on. So again, thank you for watching Yates Computers Tips and Reviews, the YouTube channel. The straightforward information, no lies, no BS, no spins, no recuts, no writing down notes, reading the script. This is straight out information. Again, thank you for watching. Got lots more videos coming up. Maybe cover a little bit more of this in the future when it gets to a more stable platform that comes out. But wanted to get this information out due to the Windows 10 support date ending. Due to Windows 11 needing the newer, harder hardware requirements. that just because you have a Windows 8 or Windows 10 computer does not necessarily mean you can run Windows 11. So if you're buying a new computer in 2024, if you're going to wait till the last minute, like a lot of people will, you might end up with two different variables in your operating systems. Wanted to point that out, get that word out there, because this is your planning. A lot of businesses can't just go out, and do stuff. They have to plan it ahead of time, especially small businesses. If you know you're going to plan on upgrading your systems, you're going to need to know this ahead of time and to make sure you keep an eye out for this. All right, thank you.